So I've got some of my favorite Ninza indicators loaded up on the new MonkeyMan Trades Delta Bars bar type. I've got the triple time frame setup. This chart on the left is a value of 500 delta, and all these charts are the type number 1, the bid-ask delta type. Got 5 days loaded on each of them. This is the longer term chart. This is the medium term chart. This is a 250 period delta. And this is the short term chart, the 100 period delta chart. You can see this chart went from Friday last week until Monday today. This chart went from midnight to 9 a.m. and this chart is just the last 45 minutes. So long term, medium term, short term. I've also got the Ninza supply and demand discovery on all of these charts. And I've got the Ninza support and resistance radar on the medium term and the long term. And so far I'm noticing we have a level at 20,020 and we've got a double level at 976, 977. Just a few seconds to market open. I've got the solar wind on all of these charts painting the candle color. So just please note the MonkeyMan Delta Bars is only a bar type. There's no indicators included with the bar type. These are all indicators that I'm putting on to a Delta Bar type chart. So the solar wind is painting the candle colors, and the volume delta is printing these ribbons at the bottom and these delta dots. So I've got the delta bars in bid-ask mode, but I've got the volume delta in up-down tick mode. That's because I like to see the difference in up-down tick versus bid-ask. So for every 500 bid-ask delta, I'm going to see the up-down delta for the same amount of bid-ask delta. So when it goes over, this should be 500 delta. Each bar should be 500 delta. But on this particular bar, the up-down tick was much higher, 812. So we get a strong delta dot. I've just noticed that when there's a difference, it can give a clue as to the next potential move. And while I've been talking, we got a red entry candle right out of the gate and a moderate delta dot. This delta candlestick had a nice wick as well. We just got a kind of hard to see. We just got a red solar wind candle on the medium term. So I went ahead and got into an entry. We had 2 time frames in confluence. And I like catching the very beginning of the move. So, I'd either want to get in right here on this first red solar wind candle or wait for some confirmation and get in on the first red medium term candle. We'd had quite a move up on the long term and we had a nice wick on this last candle up here. I felt comfortable getting a smaller tracement. I'm usually looking for 5 to 10 point scalps in pretty much all of my trades. Still have some moderate delta coming in. I'll show you the settings that I'm using for the volume delta. So on the 100 delta bar chart, moderate is at 100 for the up-down tick volume, and for strong, 150 or above. So there we just got a 173. We got a large volume delta dot. For the medium term 250 delta, I've got 250 for the moderate and 350 for the strong. And for the long term chart, I've got 500 for the moderate and 600 for the strong. And for the solar wind, I've got my micro trend settings, multiplier trend of 0.5 and a multiplier stop of 1. That's the same across all 3 charts. I put this end of bar ordering tool. I had a comment. They're wondering if the MonkeyMan Delta Bars would trigger using the end of bar ordering tool. So I'm going to buy the next up candle here. We've got a little bit of volume coming in here. To the upside, we had a green solar wind candle here. See if we get an up close on this 100 bar Delta bar. Once it closes, it should enter into a trade. Got some strong delta on the medium term that just came in. Solar wind is still red, but we got the strong delta coming in, alerting us to a potential move up. The long term is still green on the solar wind. We got plenty of room up to this next support and resistance line. All right, the candle closed up, put us into a trade. Gonna move the stop right below the low of this previous candle here. And I'm just gonna leave the target right there. We'll look to retest the high of this last candle right there. So yes, the end of bar ordering tool works on the MonkeyMan Trades Delta bars. So between the moderate delta coming in here on the short term, strong delta coming in on the medium term, and the overall trend still being green on the long term, getting in even on this first solar wind candle would have been an option. It's actually looking like a great trade still. Might take a trade up to this next supply and demand area. Move my stop below this low here. We just got a green solar wind on the medium term. Just got some strong delta on the short term. Everything's still green on the short term. We're green across the board on the solar wind. There we go, right up to this supply and demand area. If this breaks, I would be looking to test this next area up at 75 to 78. Looks like we're breaking that. And we just got some strong delta on the long term. I'm going to go for a test of this double area of support and resistance. Gonna move my stop below the low, a few candles back on the 100 bar delta. There we go. So we're at the support and resistance level. We just got some more strong delta coming in. I want to see it break above this area if I was going to get into a long. Sometimes a lot of delta right at the end of a long move can be exhaustion. So far we're getting a bounce off of this double support and resistance level. Big bounce, over 30 points off of this level. Pretty much right to the tick there. Wasn't paying attention to this chart when I was just talking, but we had a moderate sized delta dot come in, and then we had a solar wind turn red. Could have got in at the close of that candle. That was still over a 12-point drop right there. So if I'm going to get long, I want to see the solar wind turn green again on the 100 period delta bar. And if I'm looking to get short, I'd like this medium term to have a solar wind delta bar to the downside, which we just got. I don't see any major delta accompanying this solar wind change on the medium term, so just gonna wait for a minute here. So we've got the solar wind turning green on the 100 bar chart. I think before I would get into a long, I'd want to see a break above this key level up here. All right, we are breaking above. Got a delta dot. Just turned green on the medium term. We've got some room up to whole number. Gonna put my stop below this medium term candle right there. We made it up to our 10-point target. We were green across the board. We had this large delta coming in. We were waiting to see if this key level was gonna hold or break. It broke. The medium term solar wind turned green. We were already green on the short term. Trade worked out very nicely. Got another level up here on the short term at 20,020. Just had some more strong delta coming in on the short term. I was going to say if we break above this high, that would be some confirmation, otherwise it might be exhaustion. But we got the confirmation, we broke above. We just tested this supply and demand area. So we're going to wait and see what happens at this area. See if we get a retracement or a break above. Getting a couple of wicks right off of this level. And the great thing about these delta bars is you'll see wicks that you wouldn't see on normal time-based charts. I think having bars that are based completely off of supply and demand and Delta can be an incredible tool to have at your disposal. If you want to grab this bar type or any of the indicators you see, there's links in the description. Third wick. We just got a third wicking candle right off of this area. Got this nice big strong delta dot up here. The up down tick delta was stronger than the bid-ask delta, so we got this volume delta dot on the medium term. Solar wind's still green, but if this candle closes down, might be a decent short. We're definitely in a longer term uptrend, although if this candle closes down, it looks like we'll have a decent sized wick on the long term. I would at least want to wait till we got a solar wind trend change on the short term chart. I'm also going to watch out for this level, this key area that we broke through around 78. It might act as support now, but if we break below it, that would be bearish. Alright, we got some moderate delta. I'm actually going to move my target up there. It was a little too close to the key area right here. I didn't want to get caught up at that level. But we had the moderate delta dot coming in on the short term, so I figured we'd get at least a 5-point push to the downside after all this strong delta on the medium term. And now we have a red solar wind trend on the medium term as well. Could have waited for the medium term to turn red too. That worked out nicely. Dropped another 20 points from the close of this candle. So there's some more examples of how you can use these MonkeyMan trades delta bars. You can use this delta bar type with any of your indicators. These are a couple of my favorite, the solar wind and the volume delta from Ninza. And of course I always love having the innovative ordering buttons on my charts so I can buy and sell with great ease and not take up too much chart space. If you're interested in any of these indicators, there's links in the description. I'm also trading with all these fun toys on my Apex Trader funding accounts. Apex Trader funding is having an 80% off sale until the end of July. If you use code MonkeyMan over at Apex, you always get the best price, and you help support the work that I do on this channel. If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. Hope you got some great ideas for your own trading. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Have a great day.